Hello everyone, this video is about why a narcissist likes to argue, what they mean by it and what you can do about it. It might seem that the narcissist default setting is to cause an argument, manipulate and twist everything straight back round onto you. Their ability to start an argument is incredible. If you don't know what they are, you'll probably think they could happily start an argument in an empty room. They are not interested in the empty room. They are reliant on others to give them praise and to give them attention, whether that's negative or positive attention, to make them feel better within themselves. If they cannot get positive attention, they will happily get negative attention. Just like positive attention, negative attention is still attention to them. They love seeing people's emotions, and that's what drives them to get more from people. They can easily cause an argument over anything and everything and simply nothing if they wish to do so. When they feel that the attention is slipping away from them, they will cause you upset, frustration, anger and doubt, as they will manipulate it around to the fact that you caused the argument in the first place. You may not like how they think or agree with how they think. As people with emotions, we understand that everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and we can take on board other people's opinions. However, a narcissist does not think others are entitled to their own opinion and cannot take on board other people's opinions, which is why no reaction is best. Although it is hard and it is a learning curve to get to that point where you don't give them a reaction, because it is human nature to want to defend yourself. When you understand more of why they argue, you'll be able to do more about not reacting to help yourself. You'll also find yourself less confused and being able to start to think straight again. Believing in yourself and the dark cloud of that narcissist will lift. You can and you will move on to a much happier life. To provoke, they love to argue to provoke you. They'll provoke you in many ways, but arguments is one of the ones they use. They do it to break your shell down and get emotional reactions from you. All they are after is your emotional responses to the argument. So if you give no reaction, you do have to be prepared for them to step it up. Stay strong and do not react. It is all one big game to them. Remember, by reacting, you're giving them exactly what they want. By staying quiet, although it's difficult to do, it's the best way to release yourself from them. They are trapped in their own paranoia, trying to work out ways to get you to react, as they believe that they should be the centre of your attention. What the argument about to the narcissist does not matter. It's just their need to make you angry, to make you frustrated, to make you fearful, so that whatever you say back, they're just not interested in those words. They're only interested in the emotions that are coming from you. They're not actually listening to you. You're wasting your breath and you're just giving them the response that they want. If you do react, they will, of course, just turn it round and blame you for the argument because of your responses. Even by not responding, they will blame you for the argument. Having the ability to walk away actually hurts the narcissist more, and they are more likely, first of all, they'll probably up their games to get reactions from you, but they're more likely to then leave you alone and move on because they're not getting their needs met from you anymore. So if you are looking for revenge, the best most people go through a stage of wanting revenge. And if you are still in that stage of wanting revenge, the best revenge is no reaction, saving yourself from an argument and walking away. You do not have to take part in every argument that you're invited to. It is a learning curve and you do have to practice it because, as I've said before, you do automatically want to defend yourself. You do want to put your point of view across. You do want to show that you are a good person and you're trying to work things out, but they are not listening to that side of it. So a narcissist will cause an argument to close a wound within themselves. If they feel like they've been criticised by you, they'll happily start an argument, even if you didn't mean to criticise them intentionally. They'll either give you the silent treatment or violence or a massive argument to gain emotions from you and to make themselves feel better. You can avoid this by not criticising them in the first place, but unfortunately most of the time you don't actually mean to criticise them, and what you said wasn't to criticise them. They have just assumed with their own paranoia that you have. Again, don't respond, and if you feel the need to respond, make sure it's short, to the point and emotionless. They will more than likely try harder, but if you stick with your own values, they will leave the argument alone, although they may try another tactic to get a rise out of you. They argue to gain control. They argue to gain control over you and all the situations around them. They know that you prefer living in peace and that you just want a happy, stable, calm life. They know the only way you think that you can achieve this, which you never can, as the more control they get, the more they raise that bar. To stop arguments, you end up walking on eggshells. You end up giving them more and more and more of yourself to try and please them. Slowly giving them more control of you and your life and everything in it. And even when the relationship's over, you try and avoid arguments with them and you give in to your boundaries a little bit too much just so that you don't cause upset and don't cause an argument. If they don't want you going out with people, they'll cause an argument, as this means that the attention is not on them. It also means that other people will get into your head and explain different opinions about situations. They only want you to have their opinion. They don't actually want to lose you as the main emotional response to them. Even if they've left you and moved on with someone else, they want to keep you there to go back to when the new person isn't meeting their needs anymore. It takes time and energy away from them finding new people. If they feel like they're losing control over someone, they will try and find a replacement, but they want you isolated from friends and family. Sometimes it's just to confuse you more, but other times it's so that when they do come swooping back in for the hoover, you're more willing to take them back because you're relying on them to come and save you. They will cause an argument with you to make you feel upset or frightened so that you no longer feel like you want to do things or you want to go out, or so that you daren't leave them, and it slowly gives you anxiety. They might be more direct. They might make the argument about the thing that you wanted to do, anything so you back down to keep the peace. They cause arguments as a method of intimidation to keep control of you. Even after you've got out and left safely, they will try and intimidate you to keep control over you. By not responding, you are sending them a signal that this method of control is not effective. So if you're out and they're sending you all this is just like you, I should have known better, you're just out for revenge, you're just bitter, you're just twisted, don't listen to them. By not responding and carrying on with your plans, You are living your life and showing them that they cannot control you through those words. They will use children in this. They will be late to pick them up or late to drop them off. They'll not collect them on prearranged days. They'll ask to have them on days that aren't theirs, and then they'll not turn up for them. And then they'll blame you for it just to control your life. If you set routine and boundaries on access to when they see the children so that the children have the stability and the routine, you need to stick to these. And if your children are old enough and they know that your children's feelings are important to you, they will use the children to get to you. And they will say things like, I was going to see you, but your other parent wouldn't let me. Just remind your children about routine and stability. They will grow up to realise one day. Yes, normal people can swap and change plans around without the mind games, and children can adapt to this. Sometimes stuff happens in life and you do need to swap things around. But when the other parent is constantly trying to alter what they do and don't do, and when they do and don't see the children, it is just another method of manipulation to get to you. Stay strong, stick to the routine, stick to the boundaries. If it helps you stick to the routine, remember the fact that you've not responded and stuck with your boundaries, and this will hurt them more than them gaining the control over you. Your self-worth becomes affected, and they argue with you to maintain that they are more powerful than you and to keep their superiority over you, to make you feel worthless. The narcissist doesn't have any sense of self-worth. They get the self-worth by gaining power and control over those around them any way they can, by keeping you down and believing that you are down and beneath them. They are empowered, they feel that they are superior, and they feel that they are better than you, which fills their self-worth up. In the relationship and after the relationship, they argue with you to keep you exhausted. The narcissist's ability to argue is endless. While they are gaining emotional responses from you, they simply keep going to drain you so that eventually you give in. You may, because of the words, the spinning and twisting round, you may think that you are at fault. And you end up giving in to things that the argument wasn't even about, just to try and keep the peace. They will keep the argument going until you conform or whilever you're reacting to them. And once they have achieved this and got you to agree, they will then step up the game to do something else. By keeping an argument going, they are grinding you down and exhausting you. This method is great to them in making you less able to cope in day-to-day life, and you let your defences down, you let your guard down. You don't want to fight back and you give in, and this just helps the narcissist to manipulate you even more. By learning to not react to them will benefit you in the long run. Again, to help yourself in recognising why they are causing the argument and not to respond in any way, stick to your rules, stick to your boundaries, stick to your own sanity, stick to your self-worth. Write it down so you know the truth of the reality of what's actually happening. During devaluation, they believe that you do not know what they are, and during the relationship they have slowly and carefully upped your emotional responses to them. So they know you cannot help yourself to respond. Your own desire to get them to accept your version of events and reality. You want them to see sense. They are not interested in any outcome. They are only ever interested in your emotions. Although you really want to respond to an argument to end it, don't. They are not interested in winning the argument. They just want to win your emotions. For you to react, for you to give them the power, for you to give in. The best way to win an argument with a narcissist is just not responding in any way, shape or form. No reaction is the best way to move forwards with your life. It is a learning curve to learn not to defend yourself and not to try and put your point of view across, but they are not listening to that. So try and try again until you learn not to react. Thank you for listening. Bye.